Hi there folks, just getting ready to go live in a couple of minutes, just sticking a sheet of watercolour paper to this board. This is a quarter imperial sheet of watercolour paper. I've got the paints ready, the paint, brushes, etc. So join me in a few minutes and we're going to start putting some paint to paper. See you in a wee while. Hello there and welcome. Yes, we are now live. We are live, ready to paint a... I'm tired. Well, will painting wake me up? Who knows? Ready to paint a watercolour Woodland. My name is Matthew Palmer. If you've never seen me paint before, do make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's always important. It really makes a difference. If you like it, there's a special button for that. Give us a thumbs up. The more people like these videos, the more YouTube pushes them forward, so more people get to see them, which means the more people get the paint flow in. Yes, that is very important. So welcome to this little live stream. Talking about a live stream, I've actually done a bit of a sketch here, very simple sketch. I've sketched in the pencil here. It's going to be a little bit of a woodland vignette. Nice faded edge. This painting of Bamburgh Castle that's tucked away at the back of me is a vignette, so you can see that kind of nice sort of faded edge. That's where we're going for. That's the kind of style. And yeah, it's going to be probably 30 to 45 minutes. It's live originally, so I don't know exactly how long it's going to take until we do it. Let's get started. First thing I want to do is, I've actually got a piece of masking tape on the back of the board, and what I've done is I've actually used a knife to cut this in half and in half again. So I've got these little strips of masking tape here, which are about 1/4 of an inch or about 1 centimetre wide. I'm going to pop those to one side, and you'll see where we're going with this in a minute. Because I'm going to put some light trees against a dark background, basically. So I've got 4 pieces of masking tape there, and on the sketch I've got these 2 tree trunks that are kind of stretching out. I'm not filling the whole page here today. We're going to do a vignette. So I'm going to take this masking tape here, and I want to stick this. Now feel free to use masking fluid, but I'm going to use my fingers to get it a little bit wobbly on the edges. I don't want it to be too precise here. And then what I can do is use a second piece of tape, which I'll rip in half again, to create some width to the tree. So basically we're going to put this thing like that, take that off, and then I'll get my fingernails in and give this thing some character, because as I'm sure you know, tree trunks aren't as smooth as what you see in here on this piece of paper, so getting it in there is quite key. Same on this one as well. There's like a little trunk that shoots off the side. This is going to shoot off to the side of the picture. So a nice soft picture for today, folks. Nothing too adventurous here. So if you're trying to paint along, just bear in mind what I'm doing here is a demonstration. So that means I'm painting at my own speed. But of course, with this being YouTube, you can rewatch it. Subscribe to the channel. There is a stack of tutorials from me on watercolour painting. I've been on YouTube since 2008 now. That's quite early. That's when YouTube only allowed you to put 10 minutes on. So look at some of the early ones when I was in nappies still. Long story. And you'll see what I'm talking about. There we go. All stuck down and ready for go. The final piece of masking tape here is going to go along the edge of this little banking here for this woodland. The edge of a woodland stream is what we're talking about here. Now, just while we're in the process of doing this, folks, I'll talk about materials very soon, but that's your preparation. It might look a bit weird, but do stick with us. Anticipation is half the fun. If you're new to me, again, I'll just say it one more time, please do subscribe. We'll start painting in a second. And also, if you've not a chance to book into this Sunday, as I'm sat here live on the 1st of September 2022, I am on Sunday, coming up this Sunday, the 4th of September, I'm teaching a live virtual watercolour workshop. This is basically me teaching from my other studio, not here, a different studio, at a very steady step-by-step pace. Not like today. Today is very quick, spontaneous, but Sunday very steady. We've got a workshop coming up, and it's going to be of the beautiful Hilltop. Paint Summer at Hilltop, a beautiful cottage garden with colourful poppies, flowers and rustic gates. Now if you notice at the bottom it says the home of Beatrix Potter. Let me show you a close-up of this. This is Hilltop. It's in the Lake District in the UK. We're going to paint a view like this, a vignette like this on Sunday as a live virtual workshop. So if you've not a chance to book in, just very quickly let me show you how to book. We've got some spaces left. What you do is you go to the website, which is allthews.watercolour.tv. And right at the top of the screen, you'll see, you can see it flashing. That's the up and coming workshop. Now, as I'm sat here live, it's on the 4th of September, but you can book in to whichever one is happening at the time that you're watching this video. These workshops are £10. You can take place worldwide. It's virtual, which means you don't have to be there live. You can watch it at any time. So it takes place on Sunday the 4th at 10 AM. UK time, but you can join in at any time you like. That's the great thing about these workshops. And all you need is 3 basic colours and 3 basic materials, and that is what's interesting. So all you need for the workshop on Sunday, not for today's picture, is simply 3 colours. So you want a yellow, a red and blue. So the three colours that I'll be using on that particular workshop will be something like a cadmium yellow or a natural yellow light in this case. I'll also be using some blue, so it may be ultramarine blue, or this colour is natural blue. The red will be alizarin crimson or natural red or rose madder. So three colours, that's all you need for that workshop on Sunday. So do have a look, the link is in the description. Let's get over to the palette, let's get some colours prepped for this picture and get started. It's about bloody time. Right, yes it is. So I've squirted colours from my natural range. I've got my own range of paints. They are well established, they've been around since 2007, some of these colours, so they're very well established colours. Here for example, you can probably just about make it out, it's natural orange. We've got the natural greens, which are beautiful, beautiful colours. There's natural green and natural green light. Now what makes the greens interesting is that word natural, the replicating nature. Natural brown's a good one as well for this. Natural grey. You can use primary colours here, but why would you use that when you can get the colours ready made for action? We'll talk about brushes, and we'll talk about the whole process of which brush to use, etc. as the painting progresses. Remember, this is a demonstration, folks. This is a demo. Let's get started. So first thing I want to do is use quite a big brush, which in this particular case is a large, roughly size 20 brush. It's actually my own super point brush, which you can purchase. Again, all the links are in the description below. If you like anything you see, the tree brushes, the super point brushes, do make sure you check them out. The paper is £140. That's bloody expensive. £140 in weight, 300 gram, not surface, cotton, beautiful paper. Again, my own brand of paper, Matthew Palmer watercolour paper. It's a game changer, this paper, you'll love it. So I've wet the page down to the masking tape. Now, yes, it's going to look at this. Watch that and just relax. Let's just watch that for the next few minutes. It's a good job you can't do thumbs down anymore on videos. That's had 2 or 3 good coats of water on there. Kitchen paper at hand in case the tears start flowing, and they often do off camera. It's getting quite deep in it. What I'm going to do here, folks, is we're going to use some natural green light. There it is, beautiful, lovely colour. Look at that, straight in, twisting, creating depth. Don't be afraid, be terrified, bring it in. This is the light green. This is a size 20 brush, or a super point brush as we're calling it. We'll get that in there, sun. And then what we'll do next is we're going to go for the darker green, which is just called natural green. You can see the difference. It's a ready-made green that's meant to look like what you see outside. And that is a game changer, isn't it? You think about it, you know, it's quite difficult to mix that perfect green. So here we've got a ready-made version for you, called natural green and green light. So if you're new to painting, it's a real game changer having the colour that is actually looking like the one that you see outside. So I'm simply twisting the colours together, working above the masking tape here so you can see where we're going. The palette I'm using is actually a palette that's got a coating similar to ceramic. It's called the Matthew Palmer Easy Clean palette. It's got a silicone coating, so the paint mixes really well, but ceramic palettes are good. This one is even better because it's lightweight and it's not as expensive as a ceramic palette would be, maybe. Clean brush again here. But a cheap plastic palette, and you'll find that the oil content that's in the palette will blob, and it'll like, where's my paint gone kind of thing. But here it won't do that because of the nature of the that's natural blue there, because of the nature of the surface. So I'm bringing the blue in to this. It obviously needs some blue in there somewhere. It's drying quick, drying very quick. Let's get a bit of water coming in here. Hello to Joseph. Joseph's with us again. Now the water goes in. Look at that, it's nicely softened it in. Beautiful. I'm just going to leave these to do their own thing. Looks a rate mess, doesn't it? Now what we're going to do here, jump back over to... Could I turn it over and start again? What I've got here is a tree and texture brush. This one is an extra large one. Look at that. It's good for several things, this brush. It's good for painting trees. It's also good for fancy dress parties. See that? It's a bit of a Charlie Chaplin. Makes your nose itch as well. Let's get this in there. Come on. I've paid for this. Let's see, it's free. It's a free demo. I can say what I want. Green is the next colour. Mix the two together with this brush. Stipple them. Can't go wrong with this. Look at that. Bashing the old brush. Bit of scrap paper or a bit of tissue. Look at that. Get your fingers into it. Beautiful. Now, gentle taps. Very gentle taps of the tissue. And against the page, we can pop a little bit of foliage. That's how us English people say it, foliage. Foliage. Well, maybe just in Derbyshire. But it's still damp. That paper's still damp. Is it me or is it moist? Little bit of tapping around there. And look how each dab of the brush is giving individual leaves. Can you see the brush? It's very sort of spiky and furry and stuff. So you've got distant woodland and close-up trees. Now all this is going to grow on you. Yes, it is. Because the trees, obviously. Now I'll bring that in. It's been a long day today. I need to unwind a bit with a bit of painting. Talking to myself because there's nobody watching. I'm only joking. That's great, isn't it? I love that. Now what I want to do is put that brush away for the minute. Let's jump back over to here. And we're going to go for a slightly larger brush. This particular one is a large tree and texture brush. That one was extra large, this one's large. But I want to use quite a dark colour here. Natural green. Stipple it away. On a bit of tissue. We can get a bit closer in now, can't we? We can do that. And basically we're going to stipple right in around the base. That'll give us some lovely depth. Just give it a little bit of a tap. And look at the combination between these individual leaves with this beautiful tree brush against the out of focus background. Gentle taps, very gentle taps of your brush. Almost zero pressure is required here. Now, straight over to the palette again, we're going to take some natural grey, which is the shadow colour. I've not cleaned the brush because I'm just bone idle. Back to this, and we'll get some grey in here. You need a bit of grey in your picture to get depth. Still very wet down there. No, we're not even going to go there. Right. It's like carry on painting this, carry on camping or whatever. So a bit of shadow is always good, especially around these top areas of trees. Because what that'll do is it'll create a bit of shading, a bit of depth, a bit of shadow, a bit of tonal work. It's quite nice. So actually add in, can you see the shadow going in? It's quite dark. When the paint's wet, the studio lights do actually capture it. So it's quite difficult to get that shadow, but really quite, you know, don't be afraid of darkness is what I'm trying to say here. It's really effective, especially down here. Now, I'm just going to give that a couple of seconds to dry off, and we'll come back to it in a second. But while it's drying off, let me just have a quick chat again, folks, about the workshop. I know I talk about them a lot, but these virtual workshops are a key part of my teaching. So if you've never taken part in one, here's a little video just to show you what they're all about. This is just a 60-second thing. Stick with us because the paint is drying. Now, if you want to take part in the one that's coming up this weekend, it is taking place on the 4th of September, folks, but there's pretty much one every Sunday, and that's going to continue into the future. You can watch them live or any time. They are yours to keep. Remember, the one that's coming up this weekend, these are £10, these workshops. £10, you want 3 colours and 3 brushes, and you will paint a beautiful vignette of Hilltop, which is Beatrix Potter's cottage in the Lake District, with beautiful poppies, flowers. It's going to be an absolute belter of a picture, so do make sure you check it out. Back to this. It's just at that point of drying. I've got a plastic card here. Just thought I'd tell you that. And what I want to do is get a bit closer in. I want to pop in some branches, which I want to sort of do this with. So you can see I'm just using this. And this, the right time to do this is at the point of the paper just about dried. It's probably still a little bit wet, to be fair, but you can see I'm just using the corner of the plastic card, but this will give branches to these trees, and it will only work while it is damp. Okay, now if you want to be more professional, I'm professional, I've got a certificate to prove it. If you want to be a bit more professional in your workings, then you could use the palette knife. But again, it only works while the background is damp. Now this is a very quick demo, folks, so those workshops we're talking about are a little bit more steady. This is very quick paced and that kind of thing. That's quite effective, isn't it? That in it, yeah, in it. Right, I'm just going to use a hairdryer to remove the masking tape. So I want to turn this on, this heat gun. Now what happens when this comes on is the audio goes a bit quiet. So just entertain yourselves while it dries. That should do the trick. Now let's turn these into some trees. Look a bit messy at this point, but it'll grow on you. It'll improve with age. Trust me, I'm an artist. Right, so I want to use a shadow colour here, and quite a definite shadow colour as well. So I'm going to use grey on the trees, but actually just while I've got these colours in the palette, I want to put a bit of water in there. Size 10 would be a good choice of brush for this. All the products are on Watercolour TV, so if you've not had a chance to pick any of the products up and you want to get hold of them, check them all out on this website here, which is, I'll pop that over there. Stick it over there, son. Watercolour TV. Let's wet the water, because let's face it, you can't beat wet water. There's nothing finer. This is the wettest of wettest water one could imagine. There we go. And I'm going to use the blue from the sky. Horizontal. Sweep it back. There you go. So you get that nice horizontal thing into the light green. It's all there for us. All there. Horizontal is key when it comes to this kind of thing. So you're starting to get the reflective. We're then going to move into the darker green, of course, naturally. The darker green will go right up to the edge, especially here, because all this darkness that's at the back of these silver birch trees to be is going to be in this dark green, and we need darkness here so we can lift out, and we shall lift the reflection out. So that's made up of lots of little horizontal lines, and that'll start to give us reflection. The grey that we used in the trees, I want to pop that right up to the edge, the water's edge, sun. Pop that there. Perfect. So you've got that nice bit of that starting point of reflection. Now let's move on to the trees next. Let's go for these trees. I've got the kitchen paper at hand, and I've got the grey from the palette. There it is. Can't go wrong. I'm excited for you. We've got the grey. You can smell the fear. It smells a bit fishy today, weirdly. Fishy fear. Where is your light coming from? That's a good question, actually, Albert. I think it's coming from here, from left. From left. We'll turn that way. We'll use the grey. What could possibly go wrong? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll stick a line. You've ruined it. Put a line of grey down there. And once you've got your grey coming down, that's probably a medium consistency. Now if you're thinking, I can't follow this, slow down, Mr. Palmer, slow down. It's a demo. A demo is meant to be quick and easy. If you want me to work at a steady pace, that's what the workshops are. They're very steady, giving you all the time in the world to paint. You can pause it, rewind it, skip it, cut out the bad jokes, all that stuff. Bring that in there. Now what we're going to do here is clean the brush. We've got a piece of kitchen paper here, paper towel, a couple of taps, paper towel for the Americans, is that right? If you're in America, there's a few people from America, do you call it kitchen paper, paper towel, or kitchen roll? Us Brits, well, certainly here, we call it kitchen roll. What do you call it in different parts of the world? I'm genuinely intrigued. Paper towel. Look at those. So those two little giraffe legs. Paper towel, yes. I've got some good news. If you're in for the American audience, we've just had one of our books converted into American. Yes, we've changed the title from Matthew Palmer's Watercolour spelled the English way into Watercolour spelled that way. That's good, isn't it? They turned up the other day, these. It's my best-selling book, Matthew Palmer's Watercolour to the Absolute Beginner. But they've changed lots of spellings in it, so you'll see that. You'll see that. You'll see that. Kitchen roll for me. Paper towel. There we go. It's alright, isn't it? Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to pop in a bit of grey at the bottom. Now, I know you probably can't see that too well, but it's there. It's there. Bit of grey just sneaking in at the base there. It just helps to give depth to that area. I'm going to use a very pointy brush, and that would be something like this, which is the branch and detail brush. Very popular brushes, these. Branch and detail brush. It's basically a rigger brush. Some people call it a pregnant rigger brush. I call it a rigger brush on steroids. It's designed for doing nice detail, basically. And a rigger brush is very difficult to mix colours with because of the size of it here. I've got the natural brown I'm using now with natural grey. Quite a crisp colour. So it's a brush that loads up this beautiful head. We'll cut that bit out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some branches in this thing. Branching out. And the great thing about a rigger brush is that you can get a lovely point, but the bad thing about a rigger brush is that you soon run out of colour. Well, with a branch and detail brush you don't have that problem because that bit's full and it's feeding the tip. I'll put the branches in. Turn it over, tricky bit. And then what we'll do is we'll continue to branch. More pressure, less pressure as you get towards the end. Put that nice sort of twiggy, sticky stick thing that's going off here. There you go. Branching out from the main trunk. We're going to put texture on this thing. We're going to put more work in this, but that's quite nice, isn't it? That already you've got that sort of base tree. We're still working on it. Let's pop a few branches up here. I mean, that's kind of half a tree over there. Half a tree. I used to know him. He used to go to school with half a tree. Nice bloke. There we go. I used to go to school with a guy called Ivor Willie. Seriously. I don't know if it was just a nickname or not, but and then there was a Seymour Willie as well. He was, oh dear. It's bad, isn't it, this? That's another thumbs down. Let's just pop some more branches on here. Pop some branches from the back. All these nice twig branches growing up against the background there. Who said painting's boring, eh? Watching paint dry with Mr. Palmer. What could you possibly want? What's the funniest name you can come up with? Keeping it clean. So a few little sort of branches. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use one of the tree brushes, but I'm going to use the smaller one next. So we've gone from the extra large to the large into the small one now. Nice and clean. Aim has come out with a corker. Ivor Hardy. Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Did you go to school with Ivor Hardy, Amy? That's good. We're going to get banned off YouTube, I think. Right. Let's pop in some little bits of shape to the tree here. The texture of a silver birch tree. basically I'm just sort of dragging this small brush. I mean, if you compare that to the XL one that we used at the beginning, you know, there's a bit of a difference. That's the large one. You can get full sets of these online. Of course you can. All the W's, watercolour.tv. Teresa Green. Nice. That's a good one. It's effective when you put this on, and as you get towards the bottom of a birch tree, you see a little bit more of this. So it's like a dry brush method is what we apply in here. Now I'll do a little bit more texture to this as we progress. I mean, we're only sort of 25-ish minutes to 30 minutes into the demo here, so we're still cooking on a bit of gas on this one, aren't we? What we're going to bring in. That nice texture. More texture can be added, but you can see the difference between this and the piece at the top that I've not done. And it's quite quick to do with these brushes because of the random nature of them. Love it. Nice. Let's pick up a size 6 brush, which is a bit of an all-rounder worker brush. Again, I'm using these new super points because they're just easy to use. And this is the smallest one of the super points. So I'm just adding a bit more texture to this. Making use of the paper. The paper's got a beautiful, beautiful texture to it, so I can utilise that texture as much as I want to here. Natural grey is a mixture of primary colours. Try not to get yourself into the zone of using Payne's grey. I'm popping a few shadows on with that grey. Can you see the little sort of crossed shadows? Little sort of twisty shadow, dappled light from the canopy. There's even a bit of what do you call it? The stuff that sticks on the side of a tree. Fungi. Bracket things. There, look, see? Intentional, that. Of course it was. Shadows are nice. That little bit of a sort of dappled light effect. Beautiful little bit of shadow in there. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. Lovely jubbly. Back to this beast. Back to the extra large one, folks. There it is. Look at that. Let's just admire it for a minute. We're going to use that to put some final kind of foliage on. Then we're going to look at the base, the foreground of the picture. Back to the palette. So we're going to be using this with a little bit of water. Using the natural green, the dark one, on its own will be ideal for this. Just going to take some of that natural green there. Bit of stippling. There it is. Tree and texture brush. And then I'm just going to pop the little bit of final sort of foliage on. Just a little bit of a tap. It's a happy tree, that. Yeah, let's dedicate this to Bob Ross. It's a happy tree. We'll bring that in there. So you can go over the top of your tree a little bit here. Kind of beds it all in, don't it? Calms it down a little bit. Settles the trees into the paper. Beautiful, beautiful, simple way of working. Nice. This piece I'm leaving because I like that mist we've created, that depth. I'm really quite sort of fond of that little misty bit. So that being the case, I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave that as it is, and that'll really give us that nice effect of light shining. Down here then. Down here next, we're going to work on this sort of banking area. Light's going to come later on. We've got more work to do. Let's come back to the whole scene here. There it is. That's looking all right, isn't it? Nice bit of tree. Working through using those brushes. Beautiful. Yeah, so down here next, what we're going to do is use a size 10 brush. Back to the palette as opposed to the future. Great film. What we're going to do is use natural grey. There it is. There it is. Bit of grey. We've got some brown as well. Oh, plenty of that. And then we've got some of the green. So let's just use these colours. Let's just paint in the bank in here. But it would be dark, you know, as it meets the edge. So we can get a little bit closer into that for you. I don't see why we can't. I always think that you need to see, so I'm quite keen that we have these little shadows coming in. This is grey. Natural grey. There it is. Down here as well. Looking forward to getting the reflection in of those trees and some light. Now I want to move straight into the brown here, put some brown just above. Now all this will become clear what you're doing. You're making a bloody mess, Mr. Palmer. It'll improve with age. There's a bit of brown. Bit of brown. It's time for some greens, I think. So we've got loads of those in the palette. Bit of green. Put some green in there. Beautiful. What could possibly go wrong? See that? Nice bit of green coming in. Looks alright, bloody mess, doesn't it? I'm sweating. Right, I'll bring that in. I want some lightness. I want some lightness in there. Get some light green. Bit of light coming through the trees. Right, let's work that in. You need to do something. Right, a bit of water there, folks. Size 10 brush. So I've just got water on the old brush here. And I'm basically softening this all together. I'm blending it all in with a bit of water here, look. So it's all becoming part of this sort of background area. Up there as well. Work it into the trees. Blend it all together. Make sure it's all blended in. And the paint's all nice and fresh. I notice I've left that edge because I'm doing a vinaigrette. We've got a plastic card here. I'm going to go in, put a nice banking on now. I'm scraping away the colour at this point. I'm going to pop in some little bits of... These can go up into the trees, these little areas of light. Quite effective. There we go. And then over there as well. Takes the flatness out of it, don't it? Now that would only work if the paint was still fresh, which it is, so if it wasn't, you could just dampen it down a bit. That's one to practice. If you've never done it before, you've never lived. Just have a little bit of practice at that. But it's quite effective, isn't it? It looks, I mean, it looks all right now, don't it? It looked like a pile of something that the dog left behind prior. I like it. And the thing is, it just needs a bit of a... It's alright, isn't it? Alright. Right, we've got some more grey coming in. Natural grey. Because I want to reflect this thing a bit more. Looking forward to getting some final detail in, so do stick around, folks. There's a big finale. The money shot. It's coming in a bit. I'm going to get banned. Right. Let's pop some... Some things never change, like a Mr. Palmer demo. It's a bit hysterical, aren't they, really? But hopefully the painting looks alright. I think it looks alright, doesn't it? I'm quite chuffed with it. Nice little sort of scene happening. I'm going to put more work in this as we progress through the picture. But listen, don't forget, show your support. But a good way to do that is to book in one of these workshops. There's one pretty much every weekend. These are live. These take place live to your living room, your studios, your computers. They are £10. I mean, that is nothing, is it really? £10 in this world. It's about £4 for a coffee. It's nearly £10 for a gallon of fuel in the UK at the minute. 2022, so... And it's just using 3 colours and just 3 brushes. There's no fancy brushes used here. Just very, very simple, basic brushes. That's all you need. Links in the description. Or you can head on over to this website here. Click on the workshop that you'll see at the top of the screen, and that'll take you to where we're at. That's the way the picture is shaping together. What I'm doing here is I'm actually using quite a strong grey at this point and a smallish brush, natural grey. I mix it with a bit of brown as well, just to make it look a little bit deeper. Size 6 brush, beautiful super point brush. We'll get close into this. And I want to be painting some nice kind of shadows on here, just to give that impression of a little bit of light coming through. And to get light in the picture, you simply add more shadow. The two things obviously work well together. So it's a case of not being afraid to be quite dark here. And we can use this colour to pop in a few little bits of extra reflection, because all this reflection here is going to really make these trees reflect, and we shall get to those trees. But where's your light coming from? So we've got the light coming in from the left, so it's catching this side of the tree, which is really quite effective. And that's allowing me to add some lovely reflective effects. And some texture. That's beautiful. I really like that. Now over in this background here, I'm using that same colour. It's a browny grey or a grey brown, whatever you prefer. And I'm going to use this painting some distant, like a distant fence, because this will give us a nice bit of scale if we do something like this. We can almost let that disappear off, so you get that nice bit of depth, and it just works well against that little sort of foreground area. If we do another one here, we could actually paint in a bit of an old gateway. You know me and the gateways. I used to work for the supermarket chain years ago. Gateway. But that just is a simple thing, but it just, I don't know, it just gives a bit of scale, don't it? It's nothing too fancy, that old sort of rustic Derbyshire or Nottinghamshire. Nottingham. Fence, gateway. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm just adding a bit of extra texture to the old trees, the old birch trees. If you've ever been to Sherwood Forest, they do have a lot of silver birch around there. So that's a very simple way of doing silver birch trees. Make a woodland effect. Beautiful, lovely, lovely. Back to the water then. We're going to pinch the bristles, or matron, and we're going to use the spiky brush to put some depth to the water. Very important to get depth. You can see these drops I'm adding. It's surprising what a difference that actually makes to something like water. It really creates a lovely sort of depth effect there. That little bit of a sort of stream or whatever you decide it's going to be. Now, if you are thinking about booking a workshop, a virtual workshop, I do give paintings away quite often. So this painting will be given away pretty soon on one of the virtual workshops. So do, look, I'm going to show you, because I've got my favourite bit of this picture to come. So do stick with us for a few minutes, folks, while we finish it off, because it's not even been live an hour yet. This painting's cracking on. Get yourself to the website, get yourself online, have a look, all the w's.watercolour.tv. A few things to mention. First of all, go to the art shop, have a look at the products we've been using today. There's currently a sale on as on the 1st of September. You can get things like the full set of watercolour paints for £68. The brand new sky and cloud brushes you can get for £16.99. They are normally £20, those. But if you click on the workshop, click on live virtual watercolour workshop, you can see the one that's up and coming. And of course, it's the one of Beatrix Potter's Cottage. A beautiful watercolour vignette, faded edges, lovely, gorgeous with an old rustic gate and poppies. 4th of September, get yourself booked in. If not, have a look at the one that's up and coming on that particular time. Also, you can go to previous live workshops, which are at the top of the screen, and you can actually purchase a back catalogue of 111 currently, including this one that we did last week, which was this old galleon. Look at this beautiful old galleon that we did. Again, all these workshops are simply done just using 3 primary colours and 3 brushes. Nothing fancy. 3 brushes, 3 colours. You will produce a beautiful picture. Back to this then. Down in the water, we need to do some reflection, and we're going to do that with a magic tool, Matthew's magic wand. I want to see if I can find a nice sharp knife. Bear with me. Anticipation is half the fun. That's not bad. That's quite a decent one. A craft knife is what I'm searching for. I've got a couple of nice knives here. So something that's quite sharp, basically. Like my sense of humour. And basically what I'm going to do here is sorry, the camera work's gone a bit skew. What we're going to do is put some reflections of these birch trees. Make sure you line them up. But do actually scratch quite aggressively. Don't be afraid to do this, because it just nicely catches the birch tree. Silver birches. You often find that working the opposite way works better. It all depends on the paper and the grain, because the grain goes kind of in one direction, a bit like wood really, especially on cotton paper. So a nice bit of a scratch. Make sure you line these things up. But a nice reflection, and then going around and putting a few of these elsewhere, especially along that water's edge, it's quite effective. Turn it back that way a second, because it just puts a bit of sparkle in your water, and we all want a bit of that, don't we? Horizontal, bit of scratching. If I take the grey, the strong grey, and just pop a little bit of darkness down the opposite side of that birch tree, because that would have a little bit of shadow down there, of course. So hopefully you're going to get that impression of a reflection, because it's obviously the dark side of the tree. The dark side of the tree. That's definitely a Pink Floyd cover band. Dark side of the tree. Bring that in there. That's nice, isn't it? Like, just, you know, if we zoom back, you'll see it better. Betterer. Yeah? You'll see it betterer. That's betterer. Is that betterer? That's definitely betterer. Now, let's get mounted. Yes, I did say that. We're going to pop the mount on the picture. And there we have a watercolour vignette, a beautiful spring, summery woodland. Lovely, lovely jubbly. We're going to sign it. We're going to sign it Vincent van Gogh, because it'd be worth a few million if we do that. Not really, it's signed Matthew Palmer, so it's worth threepence. Threepence. There you go, that is a watercolour woodland, folks. Using some special tools, the beautiful, beautiful tree and texture brushes. You can buy these all on the website, folks. Have a look. That was great fun. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice quick demo for you today. You can't beat a quickie, and that was a good one, say the least. But do join me more for painting. Have a look at the website. Loads of tuition on the website, loads on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe, please give us a thumbs up, and keep the paint flowing by booking onto the workshop. There's one coming up this Sunday. Let's take one more look at this picture, shall we? And we'll zoom in a little bit closer to this. Beautiful detail. I love that top area of the trees where the branches overlap, and that gorgeous vignette feel at the top really makes for a stunning watercolour picture. Peaceful picture, I want to say. Quite a relaxing picture to do it was as well. It wasn't too stressful. It was quite a nice one to do. So give it a go. If you do, make sure you share it on the old Facebook page, Matthew Palmer Artist. Thanks for watching. See you very soon. Take care.